Ladies and gentlemen, this is the real deal folk experience, in case you're wondering. Have a good time.
What is folk music?
Well, I guess to jump right in, besides the obvious, kind of transparency that comes with different time periods in music in different geographical areas, and how, a cultural ethos can either contain or disperse an idea and make it relevant to people in music, like we've seen with people like Bob Dylan and his revolutionary folk styles in the 60s. Folk music, to me, really has a lot to do with, the space, the spatial reference of where it's being understood and where it's being heard. Such as you kind of go more rurally to where you would find the Appalachian or, some of the New York or Catskill type people, and you would see it more of a way of life, more of a tradition and a ritual that's being passed down as something that's important, something that carries with it stories and emotions and beliefs even. But as you kind of get into a more modern tone and timbre of what folk music has become today, you go towards a metropolis and you find that folk music itself is more of a brand, and as we would understand in music, a genre. So with the point of that, seeing kind of where modern folk artists and contemporary vision has taken it with Communion and the Mumford & Sons and the Lumineers and these Grammy-winning artists who are relevant today, they're, to me, taking an image and a pop, a branding, and turning what used to be, from the mountains and more substantial as a cultural platform, and they're turning it into something that's more visual and based off of kind of what's hot, what's going on. And really, I kind of agree with both sides personally. I understand folk as being both. They've assimilated themselves into a modern idea that I would say folk music is really just the people's music. I mean, the word itself, the etymology of our English word folk, comes from the German word Volk, which just means people. And today, with what you see going on, I think that any music and every music can be folk music, as odd or as strange as it sounds, but people will control that. And I think that what the people think is folk and what we all think is folk is folk.
I have a couple questions for you here, Josh. What do you think is the geographic difference in terms of folk music, both generally and in terms of culture across states in the United States?
Well, folk music, being the foundation of music itself, transcends geographical areas. But when you look at it prospectively, different areas have different influences. Like per se, the mountain areas of the Appalachians is what we think of, or at least I think of personally, when I hear folk music. And being a touring musician, seeing the people of that area embrace it in a different light, as in, say, the Northeast or the Southwest, and how it affects people. As you move west, it turns more into country. As you're in the mountains, it's more bluegrassy. And in the Northeast, it's more of a pop fad than anything else.
Okay, and at these types of shows, across states, is there a difference in the types of venues that they're played at?
Yeah, absolutely. Philadelphia, as an area and a region, it's more house show based.
It will be. But this is not.
This is your body. Yes, yes. This is my.
Why are you filming me?
I mean, I think it's appropriate to just like have a lot of.
Anyway, I have some opinions on that.
And not as much bar or venue based. But when you move into southern states where folk music has its roots and soul, it's everywhere. It's in bars, it's in clubs, because this is what all the people embrace.
So then that plays into the types of ethnicities that are present at the shows as well, right?
Many times it does, yes.
Okay, I got you there. So, earlier you were talking about the New Folk Revival. I'd like for you to just give us a couple seconds about that.
And in my personal opinion, I saw obviously with, folk bands are winning Grammys now, like the British band, whatever their name is, Mumford and Sons. Modern Folk Revival, in my personal opinion, started with Neutral Milk Hotel in the late 90s, and they were doing folk music with distorted guitars and trumpets. I've noticed the trumpet is a big influence on more West Coast as you get into Spanish culture, being something that actually is more influential. And today it just moved into independent music, and you see the roots from folk music just spilling over into everyday pop music.
Wow. Well, hey, thanks, Josh. It was great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Other kinds of music. It's down to heart and real, and it's the realest music there is.
Okay, Joe. What is folk music to you?
It's the music that's accessible to the common people.
Excellent. And about how long have you been playing folk music?
Music in general for about 42 years.
And what changes have you noticed over that time?
Not a lot. I think it's music continues to evolve, so it's a process.
Okay. So how do you think that folk music interacts with American culture?
Folk music in particular is a means of keeping history. It tells this story, and it's basically, a means of keeping history.